All right, guys. So I'm up at my dad's house in Sedona, and as usual, I can't get away from recording and watching horror movies, even if I'm off doing other things in a different city. I just can't help myself, and I'm here to discuss the new 2024 Indonesian horror film, The Train of Death, which seems to be streaming everywhere but the United States. I had access to it, so I took advantage of it. But if you look on IMDb, it's like July 12th. It's in the UK, it's in Canada, it's fucking everywhere, but it's not here. So I'm assuming this will drop on Netflix soon enough, probably around the Halloween season, but for some reason, not here yet. I was recommended this by a few of you in the comments who probably had access to it before I did. But as soon as I saw that it was available because of you guys, I went and pressed play, and holy shit, am I glad I did, because this movie is fucking awesome. This is totally the kind of movie that I'm into. I'm already a sucker for horror on trains, like Train with Thora Birch, or Terror Train with Jamie Lee Curtis, or Beyond the Door, Amok Train, or Beyond the Door 3, Amok Train, or my personal favorite by far is Horror Express with Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, Telly Savalas. It is actually an adaptation of Who Goes There, which is what The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, as well as The Thing from Another World, and whatnot. Those are based on, but Horror Express is kind of the adaptation of that story that no one ever talks about. And I fucking love it. I can't recommend that film high enough. And if you are a fan of Indonesian horror, I can't recommend this one high enough. This one is just an absolute blast. And it actually has an emotional depth that I was pretty surprised by. So we have these sisters. They're taking a train to a resort. But little do they know, this train was built through a haunted forest. So there's this kind of like cursed land, and of course the developers are like, yeah, whatever, let's just build a train through here anyways. Even though like workers are mysteriously dying and vanishing, they're just like, yeah, whatever, life is cheap, let's just complete this railroad. And then we're having this train that's going to go to the resort through this cursed land unbeknownst to the passengers. And they get on board, and as they travel through this haunted forest, the train starts to deal with the repercussions of, not listening to the experts and the locals on the land. This was just awesome. There's this thing that they do in the movie. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it adds this really cool kind of like ticking time clock to it, because let's just say there's something to do with the train cars, the tunnels, and running out of space. That was such a cool, clever aspect to this film, and there's like a literal countdown approach to it in the film that uses numbers for that representation. And I was like, this is cool. That alone was like, oh, cool. Then you throw in the emotional stuff with the sisters. They're going through something really heavy, and I thought the acting from them was great, so I really bought into that as well. And then you've got the actual like horror that's on display with the haunted entities that are like coming aboard the train and wreaking havoc on the passengers. And the way that all was handled, I thought was great. It's really brutal. It's really over the top. All the kills are shown on screen. Yes, they're CGI. You come to expect that from Indonesian horror, but I actually liked it here. Every death is shown on screen, and it is gruesome. There's even a kill that is kind of an homage to Hereditary. You'll know it when you see it. There's a surprise death that I wasn't expecting, and how it happened. And there is like kind of this little bit of a romantic thing kind of going on, but it's never in your face or overdone or anything. And it kind of gets away from the Indonesian horror tropes that I've been complaining about lately, where it's just like people from the big city are going back to their roots. They're going to go to the village they grew up in or something. And of course, they are either cursed when they get there, or they're cursed while they are there. This is something that they do in like every single one of them. Not this time. I love the way that the whole film kind of wraps up, like where it concludes, and we even get a little after that. And I really enjoyed all that stuff. I liked the reveal of like the backstory, even though it's pretty obvious. Doesn't matter. I still liked how it was handled. I liked how the horror was handled, the drama was handled, the ending was handled. This was a big win for me, man. I was super into this. This has like a 4.8 on IMDb. Some people get annoyed when I bring up the IMDb score. I don't give a shit. If you don't like it, there's the door. I like it as some kind of a gauge, a metric for me to go off of. And that's insane, but it's not super surprising. I'm sure some people would think this is dumb, but if you're a big fan of Indonesian horror and you don't mind, bombastic CGI kills, I thought the CGI was fine. I thought, would I have preferred it to be more practical and all this? Sure. But to see these gruesome explosion body deaths, man, I'm into it. I'm so into this movie. This was a big win for the year, big surprise. Indonesian horror is hit or miss, and when it hits, it doesn't usually hit super hard. It depends. There's definitely been some really damn good ones, but I don't know. I'm typically never completely blown away by Indonesian horror, but this is absolutely top of the heap right now. Like as far as Indonesian horror goes, like it's up there. It's up there. I'd have to really sit down with a list of all the ones I've seen and maybe even rewatch them. But this is definitely one of the best and could be in contention for my favorite Indonesian horror film, because this kind of has it all for me. It's a horror movie set on a train, which I already like. It deals with heavy emotional stuff that actually feels like it has a purpose and is well acted and well done and makes sense to the story. It has gruesome on-screen deaths. It's got a unique way of telling its story in the horror capacity. It just kind of had it all for me. Is it a perfect film? I don't know. I hate asking that question. It's so stupid. Every fucking reviewer does it. Is it a perfect movie? What does that even mean? Who cares? Was it entertaining as hell? Absolutely. Absolutely. Would I recommend it to everyone? No, I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. But people who like, Indonesian horror just has a specific kind of feel to it. But I think if you're a big fan of like horror movies on trains, if you want to see all your kills on screen, if you like gimmicky like horror elements but kind of seeing them done in a unique way, I don't know. It's really cool, man. This is a really fun film, and I highly recommend at least giving it a shot if this sounds like it's up your alley at all. So maybe I'll be on an island all by myself for this one at the end of the year, but I don't give a shit. I would buy this. I would watch this again, and I think you should check it out. So when it becomes available, if it's available to you now, great. If you have to wait a little while, it's worth the wait, and definitely check it out when it drops on Netflix sometime later this year, I'm sure. All right, guys, I'll see you in the comments. Bye.